The Perils of Political Correctness. I've got a question. Why is the world filled with so much hatred? You ever wonder about that? It's quite the little conundrum, isn't it? You know who I really hate? Haters. I really hate people who hate on other people. Oh, wait a minute. But thank goodness we live in an age of political correctness, where at least we banned a lot of the language and insults that haters like to use. So I'd like to take a minute to see how that's going, to keep score, as it were, between the two main teams, the haters on one side versus the PC crusaders on the other. Okay, so like I said, we've managed to ban a lot of politically incorrect insults that haters like to use. So what's the upshot of all of that? Well, I remember the days of my youth, before insults like that were banned. They'd kind of make most people feel a little uncomfortable. No big deal, just a little sensation of disgust. Kind of like when you see a person picking his nose or scratching his balls in public. Nothing that's going to ruin your day. But these days, when someone uses one of those banned words in public, everyone immediately goes into violent emotional conniption fits. So what's the upshot of banning politically incorrect insults? Well, the first upshot is that you hear them less often, that's true. But when you do hear them, they're way more powerful than they ever were before. Basically, banning those kinds of insults has heightened their power to hurt people's feelings. In other words, the upshot is basically that banning politically incorrect insults has given the haters a new set of linguistic weapons that are way more powerful than anything they've had before. Now haters can really manipulate everyone's emotional reactions whenever they want to. Oops. So, score one for the haters. Okay, what other effects of political correctness are there? Well, by repressing the obvious linguistic expressions of people's hatred, the political correctness movement has also made it a lot more difficult to tell who's a hater and who isn't. It used to be easy to tell who's a hater just by the way they'd use obvious hate-oriented language. But now, no one's allowed to talk that way anymore. So it's turned all of the obvious haters into stealth haters. Now they can operate without people being able to easily detect their hate-filled attitudes right up front. So basically, the haters win again, because now they're all camouflaged. Banning hate language has once again empowered the very people it's supposed to be disempowering. Score another one for the haters. Okay, what else? Well, another effect of the PC movement is that now everyone who's not a hater has to go around watching everything they say and think, so that they don't make any inadvertent slips or mistakes. Must say only happy, inoffensive things. Must think only happy thoughts. Oh shit, I experienced the human emotion of unreasonable hatred towards someone. I am a bad person. I feel shame. Must fix that. Control. See, it basically turns everyone's internal subjective world into a paranoid police state. Well, not everyone's world. Not haters. They're okay with their internal hatred. They just let it flow. The haters aren't debilitated by political correctness. Everyone else is. So, score another one for the haters. Okay. I realize that the political correctness movement is fueled by good intentions. You know, the kind that the road to hell is paved with. And yeah, I know that the PC movement's agenda isn't actually to do things that end up empowering haters. Well, at least I think it isn't. The PC movement's agenda is basically to repress our expressions and feelings of generalized hatred toward each other. That way, we'll eventually start having nicer thoughts about each other, and then, maybe at some point, we'll start behaving better toward each other. In other words, their agenda is to police and control our thoughts and behaviors by first policing and controlling our language. Hey, sounds great, doesn't it? But the problem is that life doesn't actually work that way. The basic psychological reality of the human world is that the thing that you repress the most is the very thing that's going to rule you the most, because repressing things only makes them stronger and harder to deal with. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because it's right out of Psychology 101. Forcing people to repress their hatred actually ends up amplifying their hatred. So, score another one for the haters. Of course, political correctness may make us feel like we're improving things, but it doesn't actually change us in any genuinely positive way. That's because political correctness is about making us pretend to be better human beings than we actually are, and to say things other than what we're actually thinking. It doesn't improve our hearts, and it doesn't magically turn us into kinder, more noble people. In fact, it actually diminishes us by denying the fact that our fuller humanity also includes the darker, less pleasant side of things. Things like our unreasonable animosities toward each other. It's a way of refusing to face our problems rather than confronting them directly and openly. Moreover, insofar as political correctness distracts us from the real sources of positive change in our world, it only perpetuates our world's pathologies by plastering a big, happy face sticker over them. In the final analysis, political correctness is not a way out of our problems. It is itself a way of perpetuating our problems. And the irony is that the haters of the world could have no better ally than that. So, another point for the haters. Okay, game over. The haters win, 5-0. Okay, at this point you're probably thinking, well, gee, Eric, it sounds like you've given up hope for generating a kinder, less hateful world. No, that's not it at all. I still hope for a better world. What I have given up on is the idea of trying to force a better world into existence before it's ready. And that's exactly what all this political correctness stuff is trying to do. It's like telling a pregnant woman that her baby needs to be born right now. But the thing is that babies and worlds are born in their own time, not when people are getting fidgety and impatient for them. But gee, Eric, then what's the alternative to forcing everyone into the mold of political correctness? Well, good question. Personally, I believe that our world changes mostly when we thoroughly accept it and learn to love it as it is, not when we're trying to force it to be something it's not. That's true at the individual level and at the social level, too. People don't actually change just because you force them to say fewer offensive things. It's like forcing people to drive slower by posting more speed limits. All you're doing is encouraging people to be sneakier and to speed even more when they get a chance. Real change happens when we fully acknowledge and accept our failings and shortcomings. You know, things like our unreasonable hatred toward each other. That's because we can't move away from what we are until we thoroughly accept and live through what we are, until we've reached the point where everyone's thoroughly bored with it, saturated with it, hopelessly sick of it. Then the world will be ready for real change, but not until then. And, well, I guess I apologize to anyone I may have offended.